And coming from 2 decades in HR and being a mediator of conflict conversations and disciplinary conversations, negotiating and having conversations with labor unions where we're automatically on the defense across the table, I will tell you that when people are emotionally charged, when people come into the room, they have an agenda. They have something they want to say, and they want to make sure that you can hear it. Now, I come from the manufacturing industry, so sometimes that can be rude and crude, but what it all comes down to is understanding human behavior, understanding who you're talking to and what they really want. And a tool I have found very helpful, especially from coming from that manufacturing industry where people don't really want to work on soft skills, but they do rely on data to move forward and have that productivity and value that they provide throughout their organizations, is DISC. And through learning this work style and internal motivators, you can actually address conflict right in front of you with already understanding the person and what they want. Let me show you. Using DISC, you can actually understand who's across the table, who you're speaking to on this Teams call or this virtual training, and meet them where they're at. Let's go through this briefly. We actually dig into this further and how we can start to have questions and conversations with specific work styles coming from our own work style. But let's give you a brief overview. So D's is dominance. I like to call them reds. And their main goal is victory results. That's all they want out of the conversation. It doesn't necessarily mean that they have to win, but they want an outcome that's gonna win. Let me repeat that. It doesn't mean that they need to win. It means that their result is going to be on the winning team. So that's the main goal. And that's where you can navigate your questions and conversations to avoid this conflict and make it a little bit more of a healthy conversation. They, again, might be impatient. They want to jump to it. They want to get to results right away. They want to get to an action item. So they're going to be rushing the conversation. And really, it all comes down to the fear of appearing weak. So letting them be in control a little bit of the conversation and the action items will diffuse some of that conflict. I's, which is influence, or like I call them, yellows. They want everyone to get along. They want to be open and understanding of each other's behaviors. They are passionate about humans and human behavior. They will be over boisterous and take control of the conversation. So it's good to understand when you have an I in the conflict conversation, because you can reroute the conversation so other people can have the voice. And then they fear rejection or not having a voice. So giving them that space but controlling it will be important. S is our supportives, or our greens. And they're going to be your background people that won't have a voice. They're going to be very much silent during conflict. They actually go above and beyond to avoid it. And so when people say, I'm fine, or you have your one-on-ones with your team and they don't bring up any conflict and suddenly they just quit out of nowhere, that's typically an S type of behavior, is that they're not going to bring it up unless it's a very comfortable conversation. There's high trust in their department or high trust in their leader to have that type of conversation. So they just want agreement and acceptance, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they accept or agree with what people are saying. They just don't want the conflict of the opposing factor. They will be overly passive and compromise their own values and beliefs, their own quality standards in order to just go with the flow to avoid that conflict. And again, it's just the pure fear of it and then letting people down. So these are supportive people. They want the team to succeed, but they're not going to go through conflict to get there. So we do a lot of work with the workforce on the supportive greens, on finding their voice, having genuine conversations, and building that team trust so that everyone feels comfortable allowing space for the greens to speak up. C's are compliant, or blues. And their goal is they want to be accurate. They want it data-based. It doesn't, again, mean that they need to win or it needs to be their idea, but it needs to be credible. They love historical data. They want to make sure that it's proven out already and that it will be successful based on that. Moving forward on just a hunch or assumption is very difficult for them. So they actually will speak up when they think it's going the wrong direction, the data is showing some other type of trend, or there's not enough backing to move forward. And so they're going to need some excessive analysis. They're going to want some credible companies and data in order to move forward. And understanding that, we'll realize they're not trying to be difficult, they're not trying to be rude or delay the process. It's the way they think in their work style to move forward. And so again, if you can give them that space or even assign action items in that type of avenue, will already reduce the conflict. And again, they just have a fear of being wrong, taking risks. So let's make sure that they feel comfortable in the conversation to move forward. As I continue to talk about workforce energy management, where we're actually managing our workforce and the energy to prevent burnout, to optimize productivity instead of adding more, to work on cross collaboration and team trust and navigate everyone in the same direction, I have found an all-in-one system, and I have partnered with my talent planner, in which mixes that strategy, talent, and action items for the execution all together. And the cool thing about this, and why I'm bringing it up in this quick tip video, is it has DISC assessments right in there. Everyone's profile picture has their DISC assessment linked there. So if I have a meeting, everyone on that meeting, I can see their DISC profile. I already know what I'm getting into, and I can reduce that conflict through the facilitation of my questions, through the conflict I can already predict based on the work styles in this room. Same with one-on-ones. I know their work style, so I know that if they're going to need more time, if they're going to move fast, and I need to slow them down. If they have a conflict with another employee, I can already look at the two profiles to give them some coaching and guidance on how to approach the next steps in that conversation and reducing the conflict over to healthy conversation. So my talent planner kind of combines all these pieces into a functional operation. It's a one-stop shop. It's not multiple platforms. Everything is in one spot. And the cool thing about this is you have individual dashboards. You will have development plans in here. You can see where the strategy's at and the metrics towards that to make sure that we're on point, and departments and individuals are all aligned together. And then there's automated features. So again, we're not bogging our workforce down with additional emails and chats. And the best part of it is I can plan my conflict conversations. I can put templates in of the questions towards those specific work styles so other leaders can use it. I can document my one-on-ones and things we're working on to reduce conflict and conversations with like my high S, my greens that are avoiding conflict. I have that documentation so that they can reference those questions when conflict arises. There's so many great tools within this. And the best part is that it's all in one. It's all in one, it's super affordable, and it's a one-stop shop to work on these healthy conflict conversations while still hitting our strategy and our metrics, while managing our talent, and then executing these daily action items. If you're interested in learning more, go ahead and head to my website, linked in the description, and we can talk more about where your organization can thrive with my talent planner.